Good morning and welcome to this episode of Slow Money Blues. I want to say congratulations to you. Hey, I'm Doug, retired U.S. Marine and two-time combat veteran turned entrepreneur at your service. Man, today we're going to have another dynamic episode. Today's episode is Joyful Jerry. Now listen, if it's your first time tuning in, first of all, I want to say thank you. Also, give yourself an applause. And I also want to congratulate you because you have literally taken the first step to solving your slow money blues. And what we do is we just simply teach people how to build, launch, and grow their own personal freedom success system. So if this is your first time, big shout out. What I want you to do is just, go to slowmoneyblues.com and you can ask me a question if you want. Also, check us out on social media and just say hashtag first time listening. So if you have any questions today, go to slowmoneyblues.com and click on Ask Doug and submit your question on IG, Facebook, or Twitter using Slow Money Blues. I don't know if I want to start doing a weekend review or not, but I probably will. But today's main point is one thing that you must master to maintain your joy. But as always, I have 3 questions for you. Question number 1, did you do last week's homework? So last week, we talked about Start Now, and it really was all about setting goals and how to achieve those goals. And so the homework assignment was record your goals on your smart device and listen to them every day for 30 days. They say after you do something for 21 consecutive days, you form a habit. Now, believe it or not, you can form good habits and not so good habits. So I only want you to form good habits. Good habits will help you, I am not kidding, get to this place and this thing called freedom faster than you can say freedom, okay? And also, question number 2, did you say your morning mantra? This is so funny. I can't make this up. When I share this with people and people hear it like for the first time, they really resonate with it. And this is how it goes. And if you are watching, or if you're going to watch in the future virtually, this is how it goes. Say, I, state your full name, take 100% responsibility and accountability for my life and actions. I refuse to blame others for my decisions. If I do, I give away all of my power, authority, and power given to me by God. I'm going to tell you something. I can't recall exactly when I came up with that, but I know I was probably, still on my freedom journey, right? And I was like, man, I want to take 100% responsibility and accountability for my life and actions. But I had to anchor and tie that to something. And I would get up each morning and I started saying it, and I started looking in the mirror while I was saying it. Then I recorded it. And I'm telling you, it's very empowering, and it's also very liberating because there are so many things that we believe we're not in control of, and some things we aren't in control of. But there are a lot of things that we're absolutely in control of, particularly as it relates to our freedom. So I hope you say that each and every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Say that to yourself until it gets deep into your psyche and it becomes part of you. And then the last question, did you listen to Monday Sneak Peek Preview? Hopefully you did, because you learned all about Joyful Jerry. Now, of course, I have to pay the bill. So today's sponsors, as always, is LIINKY and BIGNETDOMAIN. Listen, if you are a dadpreneur, mompreneur, or solopreneur, or marketer, or promoter, or somewhere in between, you need a tool that can help you quickly give information and connect with your target audience. Well, look no further. Go to LIINKY.com. That's LIINKY, where you can create unlimited links for anything. And guess what? The best part about it is you don't even need a credit card to get started. And there's a 7-day free trial offer. It's super easy to use. So go to LIINKY.com. That's LIINKY, and set up your free account today. And if you want to see an example of what it looks like and how it works, go to LIINKY.com/slow money blues. Our other sponsor is BIGNETDOMAIN, where the net just got bigger. I'm still baffled that we're in 2022 and people still don't know how to build a website. There are so many amazing tools out there. There's so many templates and stuff like that. But what I've discovered in my previous business life and helping other people set up their, their digital world and their digital assets and stuff like that, is that people, they don't know what to say, or they don't know what it should look like, what it should feel like. If that's you, go to BIGNETDOMAIN.com, and when you get ready to check out, use promo code BIGNET, and I promise you'll get a savings. They have a boatload of templates. They have email marketing. They have e-commerce. They have certificates if you want to make sure that your site is secure, and so much more. So go to BIGNETDOMAIN.com, where the net just got bigger, and start building your digital world today and stop having a digital dilemma. We're going to hop into this show, and I'm super excited about today's show, as you probably can tell. Today's poll question is this: do you consider yourself a joyful person? Yes, no, or sometimes? So when I was growing up, there was this kid on our block named Jerry. And each time I saw Jerry, he was always like so happy, like to the moon happy. And I thought to myself, how can I be happy like Jerry all the time? So one day I got up the nerve and I said, hey, Jerry, why are you so happy all the time? And guess what Jerry told me? Let's get personal. Jerry said, the reason I am so happy is because before we moved here, my father was diagnosed with cancer. And he was told that he only had 6 months to live. But his dad got a second opinion and was told he was cancer-free. And I was like, well, what happened? He said, my dad was misdiagnosed. Man, I mean, I don't know about you, but I know people in my life that have been actually diagnosed with cancer, and it wasn't 6 months later that they were told that they were misdiagnosed. They still actually had cancer. So that was the reason why Jerry was always so happy. So one thing you must master to maintain your joy. And this is this magical word called perspective. Isn't that amazing? This is the one thing you must do to master, to maintain your joy. It's perspective. I'm going to give you Doug's definition of perspective. Perspective is really based on how you see things based upon your life experience. That's what perspective is. It's literally looking at something through the lens of your own life experience, because your perspective could be very different than another person's perspective, right? For example, let's talk about this thing called freedom, because if you've been watching the podcast, you know that's what I do. I teach people how to build, launch, and grow their own personal freedom success system. That's the whole premise of this podcast. If you have not learned anything, build, launch, because you can build something, but then you got to launch it. It's almost like saying, okay, I'm going to open a restaurant. Well, once you open a restaurant, if you don't advertise and invite any guests, how are they going to know? So that's the launching part of it, right? And then you got to grow. And then you find out, hey, what do you guys really like? What's the best thing on our menu? Then you slim down that product line. And then you guess what? You grow it by giving the people more of what they already want or more of what they're requesting. Really, really simple. But let's go back to this little thing called freedom. Man, this thing called freedom right here. It is an awesome, awesome drug. This drug is so crazy. This drug is so powerful, it makes people delirious. But perspective, right? So as you know, I say this all the time. Hey, welcome to Slow Money Blues. My name is Doug, retired U.S. Marine and two-time combat veteran. People probably overlook that because they're like, hey, you start talking about this business stuff and you start talking about this freedom stuff. And maybe sometimes you may get lost in the sauce, and hopefully you don't get lost in the sauce, because my point is trying to keep you focused firmly on course until you are successful. So the main point today is one thing you must master to maintain your joy. And I said it's all about perspective. And perspective for each individual is based solely on the lens of their life perspective, how or their life experience. So how I see things and how you see things and how others see things are probably going to be different, but that is their perspective because it's based solely on their life experience. Now, because I have been to combat twice, and because I have visited third world countries, and because I've been outside the borders of this country, my perspective on freedom is probably very different than a person who has not been to a third world country and that has not been outside the walls of America. So my perspective on freedom is going to be very, very different than other people who do not have my life experience. Some people believe that freedom has to do with patriotism, right? I don't believe that. Freedom is freedom and patriotism is patriotism. But that's their perspective because it's based on their life experience. And part of your life experience, believe it or not, is also what you have been taught, right? So if you have been taught that the only place that you can be free is in this country, and when you believe that somebody is infringing upon your freedom because you are in this country, you're probably going to start wilding out and bugging out and doing all kind of crazy stuff, right? Where if you ask me, I'm just like, as long as you don't stop me from doing two things, we're going to be cool. And what are those two things? Well, one, don't mess with my freedom. And two, don't stop me from trying to achieve and have a better life. That's my perspective about freedom, right? If you do those things, that's when we're going to have a problem. But my perspective of freedom and other people's perspective of freedom is going to be very, very different. So my perspective of freedom is that I'm free, and so therefore I always have joy, right? And I promise you, this is the one thing. I'm not kidding. I cannot make this up because I talk to too many people. And I need us just to stay on point and stay focused today. One thing you must master to maintain your joy is always perspective. And listen, what I know is this. If you are not free, truly free, you are not going to be a joyful person 100% of the time. When I'm speaking and when I'm talking to individuals or when I'm talking to groups, I always keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is perspective. And freedom, I promise you, it just draws people in and it keeps their attention. And I promise you, this is the goal of life for every person that I've ever met when I speak to them. And I don't even have to convince them of it. I just like freedom. That's what I teach people to do. That's how I live. And that's how I want everybody to live. Because what I know is this: when you're free, you are a very, very joyful person. You're not frustrated. You're not frantic. You're not anxious. Nothing. You're just like, man, life is good. There's a couple of people that I know that have actually achieved this goal. And they're like, yeah, man, life is good. I get up every day and I do what I want to do with who I want to do it with how I want to do it and when I want to do it and where I want to do it because I don't answer to anyone. That's freedom, right? And so their perspective is very different from a person that has a 3 to 7, 8 to 4, or 9 to 5. It just is very, very different, right? They're not swayed by, if from a political perspective, if who's in office because they're free. And so I'm not kidding. If you want to maintain your joy, you must get this perspective, and it must be done through your life experience, but tie it to freedom. And man, when you tie it to freedom and you get your freedom, you're gonna be like every day, literally when you wake up, you're like, I'm so ecstatic. Today, when I woke up this morning, I can't make this up. I got up, went downstairs. Well, probably I went to the bathroom first, brushed my teeth. Then I went down and wash my face. I'm literally taking through my routine. I went downstairs each and every day. I have a little sip of pomegranate juice, right? Took my vitamins and stuff like that. Drank some more water. Got a cup of coffee. Went out on my front porch. Soon thereafter, my wife came down. She joined me on the front porch, and I'm sipping on my coffee, and I'm thinking, and I'm talking to my wife, and I'm meditating. I'm reading my word, and I'm praying, right? And then I'm like, okay, I got to get up and go for my walk. Today is my walking day. It's my cardio day. So I go for my power walk. I come back. While I'm out, I meet somebody. Hello, Christina. I met you this morning if you're watching the podcast. You get back, come in, cool down, drink me some water, take a shower, get dressed, and come in and do the show. I'm not kidding. When I finish this today, when I wrap this up today, I may or may not work on another project that I'm working on, a social media platform that I'm actually building a particular brand and for a particular target audience. I think I might work on it, but I might work on it for like 1 or 2 hours. Maybe I'll see. Depends on what my energy level feels like. And of course, it's the summertime, so I got to see if I want to do that or not. And then after that, I may do nothing else for the rest of the day. I'm not kidding. I have absolute joy. I have freedom to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and who I want to do it with. And it's an awesome feeling. And I want everybody to achieve this thing called freedom. I'm not kidding. I mean, joy. And, that's all perspective, right? And that's all based upon freedom. I just know when I meet people that are joyful, typically they're free, or they're trying to get free. And so I want you to actually do that. And I knew this wasn't going to be a long episode, but think about this for a minute. Imagine if you were Jerry. You would probably be joyful too if you heard that your dad or a loved one was diagnosed with cancer, only found out they were misdiagnosed, and then to come and say, "Oh my goodness, like it was a misdiagnosis. I'm happy every day because my dad's still around." Which obviously that relationship is very important to him, right? So he's super ecstatic that his pops is around. So every day he wakes up, "Hey man, my dad's here. I'm happy." So what is the takeaway for today? That's a great question. Joy is based purely upon your perspective. I'm going to say that again. Joy is based purely upon your perspective. Don't let your joy be based upon a circumstance or a situation or what you see others doing. Let it be based upon your perspective. And what's the homework this week? Thank you for asking that question also. Tell 3 people how much they mean to you and spread some joy. In fact, listen, we just celebrated 2 great holidays. We celebrated Father's Day. Big shout out to my daughters and my wife and all of my friends that sent me all these well wishes, happy Father's Day. And man, it's great when you have people that support you, right? It just feels great, right? And so tell 3 people how much they mean to you, and I want you to start spreading some joy. And I promise you, when you start spreading joy, you'll start receiving some joy. So what did we talk about? Well, we talked about just one thing today. We talked about the one thing you must do to master and maintain joy, and that is perspective. And we know that perspective is based purely upon your life experience. And I said, what I want you to do is with that perspective is I want you to tie that to freedom. And when you tie that perspective to freedom, and once you have achieved it, you will have joy 100% of the time, just like yours truly does. Hey, listen, this is what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to join our private Facebook group. In our private Facebook group, you'll see some guides and downloads and things of that nature there. Also, I would love for you to rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as Google Podcasts, and also where all great podcasts are heard. Now, this is the main thing. If you don't do anything else for me, I want you to do this. I want you to tell anyone that suffers from SMB, that's Slow Money Blues, to tune in each Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want you to follow, like, and share Slow Money Blues on all social media. And again, join our private Facebook group. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. I mean, if you're suffering from Slow Money Blues and you want to maintain the status quo, you want to do this, the 7 to 3 to 8 to 4 to 9 to 5, by all means, don't do anything that I just shared with you. But if you want to build, launch, and grow your own personal freedom success system, do that. And so, as always, I want you to continue to build, launch, and grow your personal freedom success system. If you don't know where to start, well, you've been listening to the show. That's a good place. Also, visit slowmoneyblues.com and click on resources. We got all types of good freebies out there for you to download. And as always, I won't see you at the top, but I'll see you over the top. And next week, I cannot wait to join you guys again. We're going to have another dynamic and awesome show. Oh, do another thing too. Once you listen to the podcast, do me a favor. Share it with 5 other people so they can stop suffering from slow money blues. Also, if you hung around for the whole show, what I want you to do, give yourself a big round of applause and tell yourself that if you want to master and maintain joy, it's really, really easy to do. And sometimes life kind of is funny. Go ahead and laugh at yourself. Don't take it too seriously. And then also give yourself a big old cheer for staying to the end. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.